What's up guys, Alec here, and today I'm going to be talking about influencer marketing and its guidelines and the rules and regulations that businesses and influencers need to follow. So there's a lot of benefits to influencer marketing, especially if you're able to build relationships with influencers that your audience is already engaged with. While it seems as easy as reaching out via private message and inviting them to your business for a tour, product sample, or a few freebies, influencer marketing campaigns can actually be a little more complicated than that on the legal side. Influencer marketing has always been a bit of a grey area when it comes to the actual rules and regulations, and this is why I wanted to make this video. Understanding influencer marketing guidelines is important, but both brands and even some influencers are often unsure of what they have to disclose, when and how to do so. The Federal Trade Commission has clear rules about influencer marketing, as do many social media platforms. There's also a classic code of ethics that you need to watch out for. If you're caught pulling what your customers perceive to be cheap tricks, you can kiss the impact of your campaign and some of the trust from your loyal customers goodbye. So first of all, who counts as an influencer? Before we start actually discussing influencer guidelines, it's not a bad idea to disclose who counts as an influencer. So influencers don't actually have to be famous on the celebrity level with millions of followers, though they certainly can be. Micro-influencers also fall under this category and can be just as effective for promoting your business. These are bloggers or social medias who usually have around 10 to 15,000 followers, but those followers are incredibly engaged. Micro-influencers are often experts in a niche field. Now, not to blow my own trumpet, but I like to think that I'm quite good at Instagram, so that would be my niche. So I'm kind of considered as a micro-influencer. 7,000 subscribers, I'm getting there. If you haven't subscribed, don't forget to subscribe. At the end of the day, anyone who can impact and influence others' decisions in an area, whether due to expertise or to sheer number of followers, counts as an influencer. If you've hired someone to promote your product by personally endorsing it or giving them a product or service in exchange for a free review, or you're offering them affiliate sales, you need to follow different influencer marketing guidelines. Now, I'm talking about the Federal Trade Commission, but does the FTC actually monitor influencer marketing? It's easy to think that FTC focuses on big money advertisements like $100,000 commercials and product placement on shows. In reality, they actually monitor social media just as carefully. While sure, it's possible for some people to get away with sneaking a few things past them due to the sheer volume of content on social platforms, you should never try to. It's a huge risk, and their regulations are in place for a reason with plenty of ethical reasoning. Now, if the moral code isn't enough for you, keep in mind that the FTC is increasing its attention on social media. Last year, they actually ran campaigns designed to inform big influencers and marketers about the guidelines they have set in place for influencer marketing, sending out letters to a large number of individuals from both parties. So influencer marketing guidelines need to be followed on all platforms. This includes email marketing campaigns, blog posts, and of course social media. So here are some of the rules from the FTC around influencer marketing. Influencers shouldn't talk about their experience with a product or service if they haven't actually tried it or used it as they say. Influencers must disclose relationships between themselves and the business or brand if it's sponsored content. This is when you'll often see the hashtag sponsored post or hashtag sponsored or hashtag ad on the actual content. If an influencer was paid to review a product but had a horrible experience, they're not allowed to say that that experience was good. Basically, they can't lie. Brands shouldn't intentionally utilize influencer campaigns that don't allow for disclosure, such as paying an influencer to publicly like a post. Now, this could also be paying an influencer to comment on a post, but when it comes to commenting on a post, it's possible that the influencer can disclose this in that comment. YouTube influencers must put the endorsement disclosure in the actual video. According to the FTC's official influencer guidelines, it's not enough to just put it in the description because it's too easily missed. The same is true for other video content on all social media. Disclosures on social media campaigns should appear before the fold or where the click to read more button would appear. On Instagram, if you aren't using the sponsored post feature, you need to make sure that the disclosure appears prominently in the first few words. Disclosures need to be easily noticed and understood, so using hashtag sponsored on Twitter will work as long as it's at the front of your hashtags instead of being buried at the end. And you also have to make sure that it's not combined with any other words to make it difficult to notice. For an example, you shouldn't really be using hashtag this is a sponsored post with Coca-Cola. You should just be using hashtag sponsored or hashtag sponsored post, or even hashtag ad. Okay, so that was a few of the guidelines. Now I'm going to be talking about Facebook influencer marketing. Facebook and Instagram have both released branded content tools on Facebook. This serves two purposes. It makes it easier for brands to track the impact of the influencer campaign, and it also easily alerts viewers that the content is in fact a sponsored post. Now, you cannot use the branded content tool to tag brands without their prior consent. Doing so can actually get your account banned. If you want to request access to the branded content tool, I'm going to link it in the description below. Okay, so now let's talk about Instagram influencer marketing. Instagram can be a little bit difficult for influencers to follow guidelines on, despite the fact that it's one of the most popular platforms for influencer marketing. It's predominantly a visual campaign, and people don't always pay attention to the text. Even if they do, there's only so much room in the description before the read more button call to action cuts things off. So how do you make an influencer's disclosure of sponsored content clear immediately? The Committee of Advertising Practice, the CAP, says that influencers can add a small text overlay disclosure on the image. This is an option, but fortunately Instagram created its own sponsored content tool to help prevent the need for that. Only certain influencers have access to Instagram's own branded content tool, which allows influencers to clearly disclose a sponsorship without it affecting the aesthetics of their photo or description. It works on both stories and newsfeed posts. Now, unfortunately, you can't yet request access to this tool like on Facebook, but hopefully we're going to see a larger rollout of this tool soon. Again, if you want to learn more about it though, I still am going to link it in the description. Okay, so I've spoken about what influencers need to do, and now I'm going to talk about what brands and businesses need to do. Now, in some ways, businesses have it easier than influencers in this area. If a business runs a marketing campaign, for an example, that prominently features an influencer, it's assumed that most customers will know that this is a sponsored endorsement. It is, after all, coming from the brand. Of course, it's trying to sell something. While this is easy, brands and marketers need to make sure that influencers are following the guidelines and rules of both the FTC and the individual platforms that they're appearing on. It's a good idea to monitor the influencers and their posts about your business closely, and to go over these guidelines and your own expectations long before the posts even go up. After all, even though you may not be the one creating the content, your business can be directly and severely affected if the influencer messes things up. Now, one big rule that brands need to be particularly aware of that influencers don't is to not intentionally use unrepresentative testimonials to mislead customers. For an example, you can't show testimonials of 3 different influencers who have claimed to have lost 10 kilos with your amazing detox tea in just 2 weeks on your website. You need to make it clear that the results may vary, and you need to explain why these results may vary. These testimonials, when shared on the brand's account, must include the range of results that the customers can realistically expect. So that's pretty much the video for today. I hope you know a little bit more about influencer marketing and the influencer marketing guidelines, rules, laws and regulations and all that. I've only kind of touched the surface with this video, but I'm going to link to a lot more that you can read down below. Now, this is a really tricky subject and kind of a grey area because influencer marketing is just massive, but hopefully you understand a little bit more about it, because influencers can actually do a lot to help your business, and being an influencer is a very profitable business nowadays. So I highly suggest you get more and more used to the term influencer marketing. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, hit the like button. Let me know in the comment section below. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. If you want to subscribe to this channel, I really appreciate it, because I'm going to be doing loads more videos all around social media. Again, guys, don't forget to follow me on Instagram @AlecWilcock, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it as always. Peace out. Playing with the word now, Hollywood geeking. It's just another Hollywood weekend.